Major League Baseball has had many great players throughout its history. There have been many great players that have spanned through many different generations, and a lot of them have not been recognized the way they should have. A lot of players who were great in their generation happen to get forgotten about once the new generation comes around. And there are even some players who should deservingly be in the Hall of Fame in my opinion, but are not in the current moment. So here's a list of 3 baseball players who I think should be in the Hall of Fame but are currently not in. Starting with number 1, Keith Hernandez. This is the player I'm most passionate about because I am a Mets fan. And even though his playing days were before my time, I still can look at his stats and see what he meant both offensively and defensively. And maybe even more important than that, him being such a great leader for the '86 Mets that eventually won the World Series. Throughout his career, Keith Hernandez accumulated a WAR of 60.4. He had 2,182 hits, 162 home runs, a batting average of 296, 1,124 runs, 1,071 RBIs, 98 stolen bases, an on-base percentage of .384, slugging of .436, and an OPS of .821 for an OPS plus of .128. He's won an MVP. He's a 5-time All-Star, a 2-time World Series champion, 11-time Gold Glover, 2-time Silver Slugger, and has a batting title to his name. What's most impressive about his Gold Gloves is that they are all consecutive, showing that he's literally one of the best first basemen defensively in MLB history. I read those numbers and I feel like there's no way that Keith Hernandez should not be in the Hall of Fame. He should have got in when he first was on the ballot in my opinion. However, at that time, I feel like voters had a different mindset than they do today. So I'm hoping that the Veterans Committee officially decides to put Keith Hernandez in the Hall of Fame just like they did for Jeff Kent this past year. The second player on my list would be Don Mattingly. Don Mattingly was a star player for the Yankees during their rough stretch of the 1980s. So that significantly reduces his playoff resume to just 1 year in 1995. In addition to that, he also had to cut his career short because of lingering back issues. However, if you look at his peak numbers, I truly feel like he should be a Hall of Famer, and he kind of reminds me of David Wright, who is still in the Hall of Fame ballot. David Wright, just like Don Mattingly, had very good numbers in their peak years. However, their injuries cut their career short. At his best, Don Mattingly was a perennial MVP candidate, was a very good hitting first baseman, and was a very, very good defensive first baseman, just like Keith Hernandez. Throughout his career, Don Mattingly had a 42.4 BWAR, had 2,153 hits, 222 home runs, a batting average of .307, 1,099 RBIs, 1,007 runs, and an OPS of .830. He won an MVP, was a 6-time All-Star, a 9-time Gold Glover, a 3-time Silver Slugger, and won a batting title. He won 5 straight Gold Gloves from 1985 to 1989, and another 4 straight from 1991 to 1994. In my opinion, when I see what a great all-around player he was, there's no way he should not be in the Hall of Fame. The third player on my list would be Carlos Delgado. In my opinion, the reason why Carlos Delgado is not already in the Hall of Fame is because he got lost in the shuffle with other great sluggers of his generation. I also feel like he's hurt by the fact that he got close but did not reach 500 career home runs. However, when I look at his career numbers, I feel like he's a Hall of Famer. He has a career WAR of 44.4, has 2,038 hits, 473 home runs, a batting average of .280, 1,241 runs, 1,512 RBIs, an OPS of .929, and an OPS plus of .138. He was a 2-time All-Star and a 3-time Silver Slugger, and was in top 10 MVP voting 4 times, and had 10 straight seasons of 30 home runs or more. I just don't think it's fair for a player like him to be overshadowed during the steroid era when he was a great player without any steroid allegations or failed tests on his name. So there you have it. Those are the 3 names of players who should be Hall of Famers but aren't currently Hall of Famers: Keith Hernandez, Don Mattingly, and Carlos Delgado. There's obviously way more players I can name, but I didn't want to make this video too long. So name some players you think that should be Hall of Famers but aren't currently Hall of Famers. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out.